Welcome, guys, to the Shields on Hoops podcast. I got Nick Peckham back here with me again for our third show of the season. We decided to skip a preview on this one just because there wasn't anything really available about St. Rose. They lost most of their players last year. A whole bunch of new guys, very young, not super good, honestly. So we just can, and no news. There was news about 20 minutes before tip, but but beyond that, we'll get to that later. But beyond that, pretty standard exhibition type game for the Orange. Easy win. Kind of cruise from the jump on this one. Had some sloppy spots, but a lot of good things for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk. Well, first off, please like and subscribe. Right, we're on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you can find podcasts. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. Now that we are in the thick of the season, we are going to try and keep these things at like 30 minutes for you guys, if we can. No promises because we are who we are. But we'll do our best to keep them short for you. All right, and get rid of the fluff. Right. So, Nick, initial thoughts. What do you got?
I felt like they played a lot faster. Obviously, having Judah back is definitely a big thing. He looked like he was ready to jump in ACC play the first 3 minutes he was on the court. So it's always an exciting thing to see. I'd say the two biggest things I took away. We only had 8 turnovers as a team, and JJ had 4 of those, and the other 4 came from a combination of Patterson, Carey, and Copeland. So that's a good sign that your players, your biggest role players, didn't really turn the ball over too much. And we shot very poorly from 3. We only hit 4 of them. We were 4 of 19 for the game. Obviously, playing an exhibition against a team like this, you don't really need to shoot threes. They use their athleticism, got up and down the floor a lot. So it doesn't worry me too much right now. But again, we shot 4 of 19 from 3, and Chris Bell was 2 of 8, and Justin Taylor was 2 of 4. So there's your 4 threes, and they shot 12 of the 19 in total. So just little things like that to look at. But overall, I felt like they played a lot better today than they did in their first exhibition game. Obviously, Judah being back had a huge part in that.
Yeah, for sure. The 3-point numbers, again, small sample size, just 2 games. But as far as output goes, I think that you'll see a lot of the same this year. Bell shooting a lot of them, Taylor shooting a lot of them, and then kind of sprinkled in between the other guys. But they got to shoot them better. I think they will. I hope they will. But that's 2 scrimmages now. So we've got 2 exhibitions. You got 2 exhibition games, and they're now 12 from 44 from 3, just over 27%. So you'd like to see that at 35 or so. Getting good looks from 3, which is a pretty good sign. I mean, I don't feel like I don't feel like hardly any of those have been shots from. I mean, but that's just something that I think that it needs to get better. We'll see how it goes. Offensive rebounding is something I also mentioned that giving up offensive rebounds was not super great. I think St. Rose
they had 17 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, and even more glaring is like outside of the raw numbers is out of the possible offensive rebounds they could have gotten, they got like 40+% of them. So out of all their missed shots, they got like 40-some%. That's not very good. Like last year, I think Syracuse gave up 33 or 30. I can't remember. I tweeted it out, but they were like one of the worst in the entire country. 41% is the worst in the country. And you're playing St. Rose, they're not very good. Okay, they're not very good.
I will say, not having Benny or Malik was probably a big thing, but still playing a team of this caliber, even without guys like that, you still shouldn't give up 17 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, and that is the one thing. I mean, they gave up 22% of them against Damon, which still isn't great. So we'll see. Just something to look at, something to kind of keep our eye on. I think those 2 stats, along with turnovers, are very important for this team all year. And turnovers were great tonight. Judah didn't have any balls in his hands most of the game. He had 0 turnovers, a bunch of assists. So yeah, I mean, I feel like a fairly good effort. I think at times they it was easy for them to kind of go into, like against Damon, we're better than you. And so it kind of turned into a little bit of ISO stuff here and there. And that's when it got a little bit sloppy. And that's when the turnovers happened. It's just kind of forcing it a little bit. I think JJ was just trying to get himself going, and he got himself into some bad spots, got stuck in the air a little bit, just touched the issue a little. And I think that's where a lot of that stuff came from. Defensively, I'll start defensively, chip in afterwards. Defensively, I still don't know. I mean, I know everybody's all excited. I just don't know. Again, St. Rose is not very, but when I watch it and I see the stuff that Syracuse is getting away with, that's what is kind of a little mildly concerning for me. Being late, just recovering and using their length and getting block shots when they'll be dunked on. They will not be blocking those shots in a month. In 3 weeks in Maui. So it's like those things are a little alarming to me. Ball coverage was a little okay. It's on the perimeter, and this is St. Rose. They tried to kind of exploit by, let's say, Judah. And then even like switching with our bigs on their guards. Like it wasn't really pretty after we switched. Like the initial stuff was pretty good, but one got like either into a driving situation or a throw inside situation. And again, we just made up for it because we're better than them. So that is something that I kind of saw. I did think they played hard for the most part, made some hustle plays. They got in the passing lanes really, really well. I like that. They really kind of extended in the half court. I think that's a really good thing. That's really nice to see. And the last thing I'll say defensively, just fouling too much, like fouling way too much. And I think that's just still getting used to primarily man-to-man team now. Just putting hands on people, not their feet. And also like the human element of time. So I think a big part of it. I'm very interested to see what it's like when it's a little bit more kind of legitimate and tougher competition. So those are my quick defensive thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with all your thoughts on the defensive side of the ball. I think the biggest thing is a lot of these players played a 2-3 zone last year under Boeheim, and just kind of getting used to the man-to-man and the philosophies that Adrian Autry's throwing in through the man-to-man. It's going to take some getting used to, but like you said, there's in 2-3 weeks when they head to Maui, it's your little mistakes you're making now, you're not going to be able to make up for with your athleticism because the teams you're going to play are just as athletic as you are. So just a little couple things to tighten up on the defensive side of the ball. I did like their little 3-guard lineup they ran a little bit with JJ, Judah, and Kyle. They kind of pushed the pace a lot. They switched a lot on defense. They got into passing lanes. So it was nice to see. I don't know how often you'll be able to play those 3 guards together when you play teams that actually have size at each position. But with that being said, I think overall there's always stuff to work on the defensive side of the ball. But to see the rebounds they gave up offensively is a little bit concerning. Like you mentioned, I mean, St. Rose had 17 offensive rebounds and 24 defensive rebounds. So almost half of their rebounds were offensive rebounds. And when we're rotating a guy who's 7'4" and then a guy who's 6'9", 6'10", and then a guy who's 7'1" coming off the bench, it is kind of concerning at this stage. But without Malik and Benny, maybe they shore up a little bit of that. I mean, who knows?
Of course,
Chris Bell definitely was better. Him and Justin were better on the boards today than I've seen them at all last year. So that's a very promising thing as well.
Playing harder, yeah, for sure. And like you mentioned, this seems going to be very hard to beat. Over at Syracuse, like you're going to be in for a world of trouble because when you got Judah and JJ coming down the floor at you in transition, and even guys like Chris Bell, Quadri Copeland, up in transition. I thought they did a great job of throwing the ball ahead. A great job of kind of like not secondary break, but like Judah will bring it down and like kind of survey a little bit and kind of see the next kind of action. It's not like a set play, but just being patient, like patiently aggressive, right? So yes. I think that was really very encouraging. Yeah, and like I said, I think Judah and JJ both forced it a little bit at times here, but I think that was more like just trying to get going, get the juices going, and that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Talk about each of these dudes a little bit here. We can look
Before
at
we
numbers.
jump into that, I did want to point out
ahead.
there was one stat that really stood out to me when you go over the box score. Judah and Chris Bell. Judah was 14 of 16 from the free throw line, and Chris Bell was 9 of 9 from the free throw line. And I mean, I know you're not going to get Judah's not going to get 16 free throw attempts a game every night, but to see that and to see him hit 14 of 16 is very encouraging. Obviously, last year, I mean, he played downhill a lot. He was the only guy on the team who could really attack the rim at will. So to see that is very encouraging. And then to see Chris Bell, I mean, he struggled shooting. He was 4 of 11 from the field, but he hit all 9 of his free throws. Obviously, last year he was a pretty good free throw shooter as well. But to see him get to the line 9 times is another very encouraging thing that I noticed. And like you said, a lot of their threes, like he was 2 of 8 from 3 and Justin was 2 of 4. I don't really think either of them took bad threes. A lot of them were in rhythm and good shots, and they're guys that they're going to get hot at some point. I mean, you saw it last year. Chris Bell had games where he would hit 4 or 5, and those would be the games that SU was winning or in at the end. So to see that is another very encouraging sign. And I mean, obviously Judah and JJ on the floor. You saw a glimpse. I mean, they played. I think JJ played 32 minutes and Judah played 29. So you saw a glimpse of what it could look like. I mean, obviously JJ, it was. Last week you had to play point guard, so you had a different mindset as opposed to this week with Judah back. But it was a very encouraging. I mean, disappointing that a couple guys weren't in there who are definitely going to be part of the top 6. Maybe, so it was kind of a little disappointing not to see it all on the floor at the same time. But yeah, I mean, the free throws definitely stuck out. I mean, as a team, we were 30 of 38. We were 78.9%. Yeah. I mean, could you have hit a couple more? Probably, but we're not going to nitpick on free throw shooting. If Syracuse can go to the line 38 times a night, or we'll say 25 to 28 times a night on any given night, that's a win at the end of the day. Because, I mean, your guards are going to get downhill, and they're both pretty good free throw shooters as well as a couple other guys. So that's a very encouraging stat that I wanted to just point out.
Yeah, the most free throws they shot last year in a game was 31 against Lehigh, however you say it. They were here, so 7+ in that category. I mean, they almost had it at halftime. They had like 28. The refs kind of swallowed the whistle a little bit. Yeah, Judah was 75% from the line last year. Last year, Chris Bell shot 20 free throws total.
Yeah,
16% from the line last year. So.
I mean, so in an exhibition game, you go 9 for 9, like.
Well, again, I mean, there's value in guys like that getting fouled. Like that's a good thing. Guys like Justin Taylor and getting guys like Chris Bell to the free throw line because they're going to make their free throws at a high clip. Yeah, it's good to see kind of get involved in different ways, a little bit in transition. I think he's underrated in transition. I think he's a little underrated in transition. Being able to get out and. I mean, he got his hand in the passing lane, made a play, got a breakaway and things like that. So I think that's very encouraging for sure. That's a lot of good things.
Yeah, right. I mean, their starting 5 you look at, if you're in transition with guys like Judah, JJ, Chris, Benny, and Naheem as like the trailer on most plays, like that's a pretty good 4 to run the floor with. I mean, they're all athletic. They can all shoot for the most part. So.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so let's talk each guy here. We'll start with, let me find the box score here. Okay, so we'll start with JJ. 14 points, 5 for 11 from the field, foul line. Most of his stuff kind of came late, and he had a lot of soft little bounces, shots like where it hit like the back of the rim, popped straight up and came down. Rebounds for Starling, an assist. Obviously, he's carried the ball. Plus minus was 10 with him on the floor. I thought he was just kind of pressing a little bit early on in the game, trying to getting to where he fits, not having the ball in his hand as much as maybe exhibition number one. Didn't take a three. I don't know if he's taken with I don't think he took one last game either. Did he? Has he taken one yet?
I don't remember. I don't. If I'm gonna be
He's
honest, I
0 for
don't.
1.
Yeah.
He's 0 for
Okay.
1. So I guess he took one in the first one. I don't know. So yeah, I think they had a solid game in the end. I mean, dude had 14 points, right? When all things are said and done, but he just forced it a little bit. I thought in the first half, and kind of settled down the second half.
Yeah, I mean, 14. I'll take 14 points or plus on most given nights from JJ, but I mean, the assist numbers definitely went down from the first game, but I mean, obviously with Judah back, he doesn't have the ball in his hands as much as he did in the first game. But
yeah, Judah had
like you
said, so.
I mean, like you said, I think he pressed a little bit early on to try to figure out where he fits in next to Judah, but those two guys are at the end of the day are probably the least of the worries on the team. They'll make it work. They'll make the fit right. They'll definitely play off of each other. I think if there's one thing he'll look back on, the 4 turnovers, I think he'll be very disappointed about because that's just the type of player that JJ is. But overall, I think in the tonight and in the first exhibition game, he played very well for his first 2 games, first 2 unofficial games in Syracuse. So I'm very excited to see what he does this season.
For sure, I agree. And like I said earlier, a lot of those turnovers were kind of him just getting stuck in the air kind of stuff. So just very, very fixable thing. We talked about Judah already, 20 points. Outside of the 14 for 16 from the line, he was 3 for 10 from the field. He did have 5 rebounds and 7 assists as well. 3 steals, no turnovers in 29 minutes. He was a plus 22. A solid game from him as well. Like you can tell he's a lot more mature and I don't know. Last year, it felt like a lot of possessions were kind of a roller coaster at times with him, but he looks a lot more steady and, like I said, patiently aggressive, picking his spots a little bit better. He got hung up in the air a couple, but again, getting the foul line that much it's an underrated type of skill. So I don't think he'll go to the line 16 times a game, but I think he'll be one of those guys in the 8. That's just what he's good at. He's just hard to guard, and when he gets you on his to do, and he can sell it. Well, he sells it. At least a little bit of showmanship in there too. But I mean, when you get by guys, they have to grab you. That's just the way it is, and he's very good at getting by you.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about Judah's performance. Judah looked like he was ready for Maui and the ACC to start at this point. Which is very encouraging. Like you said, he had 20 points. If you could get 20 points, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds a night from Judah, I mean, things are looking pretty good for Syracuse. So to see him play in his first game, 29 minutes, and look like he didn't really miss a beat, and he looked, like you said, he looked more under control in this game than he did at most points last year. Again, last year he was a freshman running point guard for Syracuse. It's a hard thing to do. So I won't take anything away from him, but now this year it's to the point where it's not just him who can attack. I mean, you got JJ next to you. Obviously, Chris Bell has it in him to attack. You got a guard off the bench. Benny, when Benny comes back, is another guy who can attack. So like you can't just sit on Judah driving to the lane like you could last year. So he'll have a lot more one-on-one opportunities. Which at the end of the day is only going to be a good thing for Syracuse's offense.
And you can tell he may have been the most talented player on the team, but it wasn't his team, right? It was Joe's. Like, this is his team, right? This is his team. It's there's no question about it that he's the guy, right? He's the guy. Chris Bell had a great first half, did a lot of things. I don't think he hit a bucket in the – 6 for 8 on those on the looks that he got. Well, she's going to get those looks because again he has Judah and looks because they demand so much point play in like 6 seconds. just kind of a freak. All you haters, all right? Everybody in the zone last year, 5 boards, his hand on things, 2 blocks and 3 steals. Those are things we did not see last year. Too excited, but we did not see that stuff out of him. It was all, well, he took a couple threes, maybe a pull-up jumper, 1 rebound, 2 turnovers. That's a night, right? So it's good to see him being active and being a little bit more active. So, and we'll talk about Taylor too. You know, those guys are going all year. He 3 for 7 overall, got on twice, 12 boards for JT. Block and a 1 minute. So, for let's see, 18. There were 4 for 12, which is 33%, which is where you kind of want to be. 5 for 12 be a little bit better. They were 11, 2 assists, 4 steals. Those are numbers. Those guys, like if those, I think those are things to be okay with, like that.
Yeah, I mean, the 19 points from Chris Bell is like you get 10, 11 from him on a given night, maybe 12. You're excited. Things are looking good.
Guys. Yeah, either of those guys.
And Justin, I mean, the 12 rebounds, that's the first thing when you look at the box score that jumps out at you, to see him get 12 rebounds. So that's very impressive.
The team by double.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing I would take away from Justin is I thought he played pretty good defense on the bigger guys. I know he guarded a 6'9" guy to start the game, but when he kind of switched onto the point guard, the 6'3" quick little guard, he had a little bit of trouble. But I mean, Justin's Justin, right? Justin's got upper body strength. He's gonna shoot the shots when he's open, and he's gonna hit the glass and play hard defense. So like that's all you can ask for from Justin. And like you said, Chris Bell, he had a whole 19 in the first half. But to see him being aggressive the way he was very encouraging.
Got that there's a little bit more like it's a strong body. He's not going to go in there and drive and like bang and score, but he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up, and he's not afraid to make second effort from him on the last so far. Just the second effort is where a lot of players would be like, okay, well, he kind of sticks his nose in there, and good things happen when you stick your nose in there. So yeah, very encouraging to see him play. And again, like I just don't. There's going to be a lot of kind of weird for this roster as far as in the game, because that depth is definitely going. You can definitely see that, and then you add Chance backcourt, like we've said. I mean, it's going to be highly competitive for minutes. So if you're not going to play hard, like you're not going to play. If you're not going to defend, just stay out there anymore. You're going to have to sit because somebody else can. Like if you're not producing, there's going to be more. Like there wasn't a lot of, in the last couple of years, there wasn't a lot of, well, this guy's not playing well, but he's who he's got. That's who we've got. We got to roll with him, right? Like it is what it is. So like I think with this team, there's a lot more like flexibility and competition for playing time and minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, like guys like that, like Chris Bell, Justin, Quadir Copeland. I think guys like that, it's going to come down to hustle, loose balls, fighting for rebounds, like just the little things like that. Who has it on any given night may get more playing time than who does it.
Yeah, who's shooting well. Naheem, 12 points, 6 dunks and putbacks. I imagine that Naheem McLeod's going to have a very, very high field goal percentage this year. I don't know how many shots he's going to be taking otherwise. He had one nice little kind of pivot over his left shoulder with his hand to finish and score. His footwork's not – I've been impressed with it. The commentators were talking during the game, and they said that he just looked a lot more light foot this year. I think that's a good way of saying it. Like he's not as It doesn't seem. I didn't watch a ton here, but he's just a little more smooth and 2 blocks, played 19 minutes. Only a +1 on the plus minus, which sometimes doesn't. Solid game, played half of it. Doing what we need him to do, right? That's what he's doing. What he needs to do. Need to score. It'd be nice, but he doesn't need to be a guy we throw it into and makes a play with his back basket. At least in my opinion.
No. I mean, if you can get the 12 points, 6 rebounds, I mean, maybe your rebounds go up a little bit, 12 points, 8 rebounds, a couple blocks, and just be that presence in the middle of the floor every night. That's a win-win. Like, that's 12 extra points that you weren't expecting and a guy who just clogs up the paint. And that's what Syracuse needs on this team.
Yeah, and block, he's going to you know what I mean? Like, that happened a couple of times tonight where a little guards to get by Syracuse defenders, and they get in there. It's like, well, now what do I do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? This behemoth in here, and like I just
7'4" giant standing in the middle of the paint.
grab the. It's like one of the things. Kyle Cuff tonight, not so okay. Story to start. Kyle Cuff struggled a little bit tonight. Quadir Copeland struggled a little bit tonight. Copeland and Cuff, they were 3 for 15 from the field, 0 for 5 from 3, 0 for 4 from the free throw line. Not the best performance. Got a lather going. Copeland got in some. I think he only got like a minute or two, and then he picked up bang bang 2 bang bang. He was kind of subbed out. He just never got into a flow tonight. Cuff was over 3. That's just a nice play when he was on the floor, but numbers wise wasn't as productive. But still showed he's into making plays. So those guys, just kind of this evening.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, he had from when you watch the first exhibition game, tonight was kind of disappointing. But he had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. Like you said, he was a +20 when he was on the floor in 19 minutes. But he just goes to show you that you have another reliable guard. He only played 6 minutes, total, I think, last year at Kansas. So it's going to take some time to get his offense back into rhythm where he wants it to be. But to play like the hustle plays and be another guard on the floor and things like that, that's what Syracuse needs. And if his offense comes along to what we saw in the first game, that's only a plus for this team. I mean, when you look at guys who, we talked about in our first episode about potential guys who could come off the bench. If you could get those numbers from Kyle along with Chance when and if Chance comes back this season, guys like Malik, guys like Justin Taylor, like that's only added firepower to the bench. And that's Syracuse needs that. They haven't had a bench like that in years. So it just gives some more leadway to the coaching staff. So your starters don't have to play 38, 40 minutes a night. And if they need to come off for a couple minutes here or there, you have the guys who can go in and things don't slow down.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, agreed. And you can see flashes with Cuff's game. Like you can see, I saw some Kansas flashes tonight, just like the way he moves and the way he kind of operates. Like you could kind of see it. All right, so let's talk about the bigs a little bit. So William Byrne got 5 minutes or 6 minutes. Didn't look great. Like I said, bigger than I thought he was. Longer. He's going to be. It's okay to have. Peter Carey though, 15 minutes tonight. He was plus 19. I thought he did a lot of good things. Active man, of it, and I like seeing him. Man, I hope he stays around it doesn't hit the portal because I think that guy solid player by the time he's a junior, which is probably what the coaching staff has obviously been thinking. It's hard. Like, if I don't know how much burn he'll get in the regular season, but he's one of those guys that if you put him in, like, effort's not going to be a problem. And same with Hema, honestly. Like, effort's not going to be with those guys, which gives Syracuse a little more lateral side to side athleticism defensively rather than having McLeod. But effort's not going to be in those guys at all, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, Peter played. I think you just said it. Peter played 15 minutes tonight. He looked good. I mean, for not really seeing him, I don't think he played in much exhibition last year, so to not really see him at all. I mean, like you said, if you got
game, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a guy that gets hurt in a game or misses a game, and you need a guy to come in, he's not gonna hurt you. He's only gonna give you energy and give you a little bit of athleticism. I mean, he had 5 points, 5 rebounds, 3 falls, 2 turnovers. So, but I mean, if you want to look at the plus minus, he was a plus 19 when he was on the floor. But again, guys like that, it doesn't really make a huge difference with the plus minus. I mean, you just like what you saw from him if you ever needed him to come out on the floor in an ACC game or when they go to Maui or something like that.
Yeah. So that's the roster breakdown for the night. We're heading. It starts to. You got New Hampshire on Monday. You got Canisius on Wednesday, who smoked Colgate in a scrimmage, by the way, or at least that's what Twitter said. X, whatever we are on now, but I think
it was true. It was true. They did.
Yeah, life without Tucker Richardson for Colgate. He's been a pain in the side of Syracuse fans. So they come in with we'll try to do a little bit of research for you guys on what New Hampshire kind of brings to the Dome. I think they finished mid-2 last year, and I think they're 15-15 or something like that, kind of a middle of the road team in their conference. We'll talk about that, and we'll preview the rest of the season for you guys. Typical exhibition night, which it's nice, right? It's nice to have, this is kind of Syracuse won by 30 exhibition game. No issues. We'll see how things go. Instead of being oh my God, we just beat St. Rose by 4. You know what I mean? So it's nice to kind of have that kind of feeling. And even without 2 or a starter and one of the first guys off the bench tonight, Syracuse just kind of coasted. So we'll see how things pan out. We'll see how the Benny Williams situation pans out over the next couple of days once we learn a little bit more. Hopefully it's something super minor like missing a curfew and nothing crazy. And then hopefully Malik Brown gets himself healthy as well so we can be full strength as we kind of hit November running. Any final thoughts, Nick, before we get out of here?
Just a couple. First thing, listening to Adrian Autry's press conference after the game, Malik Brown seems to be fine. If it was a regular season game tonight, he would have played. Encouraging thing. Benny, I guess we'll hear in the next, hopefully maybe tonight, in the next day or two, what it was. I mean, all speculation for my part, but I mean, Halloween was last night. He probably showed up to practice late. It was a no-no. But again, hopefully we'll figure out something soon. You never want to go into a season with one of your top 3 players being suspended. It just kind of puts a damper in everything, that all the excitement that we had going in. Hopefully Benny learns from this, whatever it is. I know we had an incident last year where we played Virginia at the Dome on a Monday night, and Benny didn't show up to the Dome at all. And everybody thought he transferred. I can promise you Benny is not transferring from Syracuse. So do not believe any of that. But hopefully we figure out what happens soon. But hey, it's over. Exhibition's over with. The real thing starts Monday. We have 3 games. We play New Hampshire, Canisius, and Colgate, and then we head to Maui for a big time tournament in Maui over Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving weekend. Week, I should say.
Real fast.
We're jumping in, guys. I mean, this is it. It's the Adrian Autry show is here for sure. Monday night at 7. if you can go. I did hear a rumor that Syracuse commit Elijah Moore might be in the house Monday night. So if anybody goes to the SU game, he'll be here next year. He's one of the top players in the country. So that's a nice thing. But I think that's all I got. I mean, I'm excited. We get to see everything unfold for real Monday night. So let's get it rolling.
Let's do it, man. I'm hyped too. I'm excited. A lot of good buzz in the air. A lot of good things from these exhibitions. A lot of things that we can also kind of be on the lookout for to see if these were just kind of anomalies in these two games, if they're actual like issues that we'll have to follow all year. So we're learning as we keep going. Like, subscribe, follow, tell your friends.
Do it all.
Some love.
We're here all the time. If you have questions, comment on videos, comment on Twitter. When we get to it, we'll answer anything you guys have. If there's anything you want us to talk about on the show, leave a comment under and let us know.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's it from us. In behalf of Nick Peckham, we're out of here. Keep the faith, guys. We will see you guys next time, Sunday or Monday, for a New Hampshire preview. Adios.